Welcome, everybody, to the 5th episode of Ask Us Shit.
Ask Us Shit.
Ask Us Shit. And let's lay this.
All right. All-Star Limousine episode of Ask Us Shit with Matt and John.
Action. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. I am John from Silver Fox. He is
Matt from the Music Boutique.
And he is
Jarrad from All-Star Limousines.
Yeah.
And welcome to the show. We didn't plan that out at all.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
Thank
of
you.
course. It's great to have you here.
Pleasure.
And so as you all know, hopefully by this point, we've got a great show, great feedback. Thank you, everybody who's been tuning in every week. It's awesome to see this take off so quickly. We've got guests scheduled for the entire next month already.
Yeah, the whole month.
The
People
whole
have
month.
been tripping over themselves. Hey, can we come on? Can we come on? Yes.
Awesome.
Everybody can come. This would be great.
Very, very cool.
So send your questions in live. We will answer them. We have a bunch that were already asked, sent in beforehand. Ask them on for limousines, which Jarrad is here to talk about. Photography, video, DJ, entertainment, what have you. We've got a promo. If you stick around to the end, kind of give you like a little something free or, worth sticking around for.
Live
So,
pod promo.
Live pod promo. All right, so without further ado, Jarrad Kulick, All-Star Limousines. Jarrad, tell the world a little bit about you, what you do, and what All-Star is all about.
Jarrad?
So I'd rather talk about All-Star first, honestly.
Deflection,
It's more impressive than I
deflection.
am. So it's a company that's been around since 1982. Owned and started by Jim Powers. And they're an international executive car service. So what that means is they do travel all over the world for corporations, individuals, all that kind of stuff. Any kind of ground transportation, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
You gotta get places.
You gotta get places, and to be able to do it anywhere is and have the same kind of level of service is just it's not easy,
Sure, sure.
But in addition to that, we do all kinds of celebratory services: limousines, party buses, antiques, and we do it pretty good.
Yeah,
We do it pretty good.
You do better than pretty good.
Yeah.
We try. It's not. It's as easy as it sounds like it is. It's not that easy.
Right.
You'd think it is. Like pick
Yes.
people up, drop them off, get here to there. It's
There's a lot of moving parts
a
with
lot of
weddings.
moving parts.
Yeah.
A lot
Yes.
of things
The
involved.
wheels move.
The wheels move.
They
or-
do.
That's
The
not the
wheels
only thing
move.
moving.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
yep.
not the only thing moving. Now, and the nice thing about All-Star here, just coincidentally, is that they're in the same building as us, which is awesome because we have not only All-Star, Music Boutique, Silver Fox, we've got florists. I mean, like, you could come here and pretty much get half your wedding planned, if not more.
No, you get all the vendors.
All the vendors.
All the vendors.
Yeah.
So you still need a catering hall.
Yes.
But
yes,
for the
you
most
have.
part-
For the most part,
Anything not food related, this is the spot.
this is the spot. Although we do serve drinks, free drinks here. So, drink menu and everything,
Yeah, I did bring in lunch today. So
Yes,
have some
yes.
leftovers.
So, all right. Well, we're going to jump into some questions since we've got a whole page of
Yeah,
questions,
yeah.
right?
Thank you
And
everybody
thank
for
you.
sending in questions.
They
It's-
are.
it-
It's a lot of questions.
It's really cool, actually.
It is cool.
It's fun.
We're going to start them off with Jarrad, obviously, and the first
Limo questions.
limo question, transportation question,
Transportation questions.
from Jessica. Do the antiques have air conditioning, and do they drive like a normal car?
Yeah, I mean that's a really great question, and it's one I get asked a lot. So yes, our antiques have air conditioning. The better question to ask is, do your antique vehicles have redone engines? So now most real Rolls Royces or real 1930s Cadillacs or anything in that vintage category, most people are not going to redo the engine, drop a new Chevy big block engine in those vehicles. They're not going to retrofit climate control. They're not going to rewire the electrical, primarily because it hurts the vehicle for resale purposes to a collector when you have a real Rolls Royce. So
Right. Okay.
the
Fair.
secondary reason that it's not done is because it's expensive.
Expensive.
Yeah.
And it's freaking complicated. So but you can't have real AC in a 1962 vehicle with a 1962 engine.
No.
You need to have a new Chevy big block or a big block engine in those vehicles.
Wow.
We're the only company I know that does that.
Right.
So all that you just said, you still go above and beyond, and you do.
You almost have to. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years. I worked for 2 other companies prior to this, and they didn't do these things. And these things were like, they're just prone to failure. They're
Oh, yes.
50, 70, 80-year-old vehicles.
Yes.
You can't.
No.
I can get into my 2020 something car right now, and you could have a mechanical issue. These things are ancient.
Yes.
So you have to really redo them that way.
Yes.
Because if you don't redo them that way, in addition to not being able to retrofit climate control and redo the electrical kind of stuff, you can't do preventative maintenance. You can't do preventative maintenance to an older car because they just don't make the parts anymore.
Right.
for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very good
So
point.
unless you have like, somebody's like uncle who's been doing it for 80 years, who's like that kind of guy,
Right.
and I mean they don't really do something
Right?
like this
No,
anymore.
no,
you know?
exactly. No, but that's a good question. Actually, a story that I have, and I'm sure this bride is not watching. She's been married for years, but when I was shooting a wedding, this is going back years. There was a company that had sent one of those princess, vehicles, which is not really a Rolls, and
Right,
it wasn't
Princess
All-Star.
is an imitation, right?
Yes,
100%.
exactly. It was, a wannabe or whatever it was, kind of Rolls.
Wannabe Rolls Royce, yeah.
And it was August and it was hot and we were finishing up at the bride's house and the limo driver came in and said, I can't get this thing cooled down. I'm worried about it restarting, whatever, it turned off. And so, long story short, I wound up driving in my BMW, the bride and her father
man.
to the venue in the back of my car. And
Oh,
it was,
man.
funny,
They
hysterical.
they were loving you. Though.
we
you were
laughed
like,
about
you like
it.
the hero.
Makes
that
for a
night.
good story
We
after
laughed.
the fact.
We laughed
but
about it.
yeah.
I'm sure the limo company did not get,
That would be a problem.
not
That would
all
be-
star, but
Yes.
no, great question because really, when you have all, and that is the one thing I will say from our perspective, like that can throw our timeline off is
The cars.
something go wrong with transportation.
Yeah, and it really is one of those things that we're not, I think, as fun as like you guys are, as fun as like the catering hall adventure is. Like we're more like a have to do, but this is one of the few things where if like you don't do this right, or you hire a company that doesn't do this right, it messes up everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
could drastically impacts everything.
Yes.
Well, even
Yes.
just thinking about it, I've been to a couple of weddings where by the time the bride and groom get to the actual party, they're sapped. You've
Right.
been in a hot car all day, and you don't realize the energy that it takes to,
Yeah.
keep
Deal
yourself
with it.
going like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the party, you're cranky.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I just want to sit, have a drink, I don't talk to anybody
Right.
else.
Yeah.
A car for 45 minutes with crappy
Yeah.
AC.
yeah,
it
get a
sucks.
car where they see and save the day.
Yes, it's a
True.
great question.
Very
The
true.
best question is just ask, if you deal with any other companies, ask them if the car has a redone engine.
Yes.
Most
All right.
important thing.
Well,
Pro
okay.
tip.
So to that point, yeah. So Katie then asked, so what happens if there is a mechanical failure? What's done to prevent it? Obviously, I mean,
Yeah,
you can
half
tell
answer,
what
yes.
you guys have here. So, but
Yeah.
jump into that.
So, like anybody who tells you in any transportation company that these things don't occasionally have some kind of issue, it's impossible. It's law
Right.
of averages.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
You're doing thousands of these things in
Yeah.
a year, so ultimately you have that, or even more likely is you have like a tire blowout, or a fuse goes, or a car, God forbid, gets clipped or dinged, even if it's a minor thing. It's just we live on Long Island. The roads are crap.
Yes.
These people drive so well these days. I'm sure we all drive all over
yeah.
the place. It's incredible.
Well, we all drive perfectly here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
No question.
So what we do is we keep vehicles on standby. We have mechanics here every day, and staff with CDL licenses that can either drive out and address any kind of mechanical issue, or drive out and swap out a car. We always keep vehicles of equal or equivalent value or size or capacity on site, so to avoid any kind of or in the occurrence of mechanical failure. What we do to minimize actual mechanical failure is we have that mechanic on site. We do checks of these vehicles before they leave, and when they come back, we only send them out once in a day, so it gives us time to address any kind of issues. Barring the antique vehicles, we flip our whole fleet. We used to do it pre-COVID every 2 years, every 18 months to 18 to 24 months.
Right. Right.
So now it's a little bit slower than that for a lot of different reasons because of difficulty, supply and demand, and how expensive everything has become, and it's just a little different. But we flip our fleet pretty fast. We also minimize the movement of these vehicles, so we really only do weddings and we do corporate. We'll do some proms and some vineyards and stuff like that, but we don't really promote for it or advertise for it, so it keeps a lot of hard miles off the cars.
It's a pretty serious operation here. They got car wash on site, mechanics here that
Full
are
lift, full
full
mechanic
lift.
facility
Yes,
here, so-
yes. I mean, it actually is really
So you could
good.
do a lot of the fixes right here.
Almost everything
Almost
except for body work. So we really have the ability to, if there is a problem, we'll know about it and we can fix it.
Address it right away. That's
and
cool.
Not booking the vehicle multiple times in a day gives us the time to do that.
Right.
So
Right. Matt, I know you got a question about actually limo. A good question that you should ask.
All right, so I have a gaggle of nephews at home, and they need to know which limo's the fastest?
Oh,
All
man.
right, that's
I mean, that's an awesome question.
from a young guy's
So the
perspective.
last time we took them out to the strip and we raced them all down the strip,
Yeah,
it was close. It was close.
They race
you
the
know?
limos.
So we, I really had, I don't know. I would probably say it'd be like the modern Rolls though. Probably the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, the Ghost.
So like a 10-cylinder in there, along
Yeah.
those lines. That
Yeah.
thing will
Yeah.
will easily crank. And the other things are just big and heavy. You know, they have
Yes.
big engines in there,
Yeah.
but
Funny question. That's from your 11-year-old nephew.
That's a
my
great
11-year-old
question.
nephew,
That's a
yeah.
great
And
question.
Right,
actually,
yes.
now that I'm thinking about it in an addendum, you ever see that movie, The Wedding Singer, where he makes the
Yeah.
limo driver go around the circuit?
yeah.
to see if
It's like
it-
his buddy. He's got him on like the freaking
Yeah,
clock.
he's timing
He's
him.
like, did he get the job?
Right,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
yes.
So you do something. I would imagine all of your drivers have to go through some type of training like
Just
that.
like
yeah,
that.
they
Just
already-
like that.
Yeah.
Speed
Yeah.
test around the cones and everything
Yes.
like that.
Yes, that's
I'm
awesome.
gonna make him do it in reverse in,
Yeah.
in the stretch escalades.
Well, what happens if you need to be able to do
Right.
this?
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
right. These are time-sensitive affairs.
They
We gotta
are.
make sure
They
we
are.
got our wheelman and they're good. You know.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's
Sure.
cool.
Hello, welcome to a lot of TikTok people who've joined us. You're watching Ask Us Shit,
Ask a shit.
which is wedding wisdom without the BS. We are here with Jarrad from All Star Limousines, learning all things about limousines, transportation for your big day. Matt and I are here. Matt's got a question. I'm going to ask it to you. So, this is from Sarah, came in a short while ago. How long from our first meeting do I have to book you? Need to know. Last week you had to, somebody.
Yeah, this happened. This is a real story, real situation. So, bride comes in, books us, or rather has a first consultation, and we sat. We had the meeting. Everybody gets a standard from the day we sit down and I make the contract. You get 10 days to think about it
Right.
and do your due diligence and perhaps see other companies and be disappointed. But you have your opportunity to go check everything out and do what you got to do. And we encourage that. We want that to happen. But that doesn't necessarily hold the date.
Right.
So
Okay.
what ended up happening is on last week's show we talked about some dates that were sold out on here, and it turned out one of the dates that was sold out happened to be a date that this particular bride was looking at. So in that 10-day, world, you can still book the music boutique, but perhaps a specific performer
Right.
might get
Right.
That makes
clipped
sense.
in the time that you want to come in. So long story short, the answer to all these questions is, if you know what you want and you're sure about it, don't sleep on it.
I say the same thing.
Book it
Everyone's
right away,
Sure,
yeah.
Book right away.
Yeah.
You know it. If you need to make peace with a price or a deposit or whatever your details moving forward are, but if you see what you like, all the good stuff gets booked up right away, especially at the prime times of the year.
Will you hold, if on a consultation, will you hold the performer for somebody for 10 days?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll
With no deposit or anything?
Oh, well, the rule is this. If someone comes in, I'm going to tell you, hey, just so you know, this happened. And I don't make that up. That's not like a sales pitch for me. Some people are like, oh, someone just called for your date.
Right.
That's not, I don't do it unless it's real. So if I...
I
and
have
I
a quick story I want to throw in there.
Yeah,
I have a
sure,
quick
yeah.
story.
yeah, tell me.
Oh, no, so I didn't mean to interrupt your...
No, you're the guest. This is
I-
important.
I feel like, I don't know if it's like some kind of law of the universe, but I can think of like 5 or 6 times where I've had somebody call up for a date and the phone's quiet all day. And then as soon as I hang up that phone, I literally had it, I'll tell you super fast because and I'm going to mess it up, but it was so uncanny, I'll never forget it. I had a bride call up, I got off the phone with her, it was for a particular date, quiet day. Right as I hang up the phone, another bride calls up for the same exact date. And I'm like, oh my God, I tell this woman, like, oh my God, like, this is
I can't
so
believe
weird.
that.
I just got a phone with somebody for your date.
Right.
And it was a quiet day, and she
Right.
probably thinks like, okay, yeah, right, bro.
Right.
Okay. So she gets off the phone, and I'll follow up if people. I usually tell people if they're interested in like, hey, can you let me know if somebody else calls on my day? So I call back the first bride, and she's like, okay. The next day, I have like an appointment. I finish my appointment. I have 2 messages on my phone. They're at the exact same time to the minute. It was like 11:19 or whatever it is. They're both from the 2 brides for the same date. The very next day, called at the exact same time.
Wow.
Left a message. Yeah, and this is totally like
Wow.
it blew me away. And I
Yeah.
called up the first bride. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I was so cute. I thought I was a lunatic. She's
Right,
like,
right.
she's like, all right, I'm booking. Like, relax.
Yes,
Like,
right.
but
yeah.
they both booked like back to back. But I'll never forget that. And so
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes like the universe like works that way.
These certain dates just happen to line up, and that's the truth. For whatever reason, there's certain dates where they're just super busy,
Yep.
random on the calendar, and
Yeah, I mean that listen, we're in an event business where, it's sort of supply and demand, where you have people who want certain dates busy. We talked to Jerry Scotto last week from Westbury Manor, certain dates that are going to book up in October, December, June, September, like those are busy months. And question. All right. Yes, I got my question on sec. But anyway, it is. I will say, like, one of those things where if you do know, we do a 7-day courtesy hold, similar to what Matt does. But we obviously don't want to. We're not here to pressure people.
No, it's not a pressure
Right.
situation
It's
at
just
all.
like, hey,
Yeah.
we're trying to.
Sure,
Yeah. I mean, listen,
good
if
about
you've
it.
got somebody that's got a completely open calendar, is like, yeah, whenever you book me, you
Kind of a
book
red
me.
flag.
Yeah, it's probably like,
Or
you know.
the opposite. Like if you have somebody that's like, oh yeah, it's always like I don't understand how people actually go to these showcases and book on the spot. Like we have to check availability.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
and anybody who's I think any good company like we don't
Yeah,
subcontract
yeah,
out the
yeah.
work. We have a big fleet, but it's finite. I can't just like go pick a Rolls
Yeah.
Royce off the Rolls Royce tree in the back
Yeah,
of the building.
Yeah.
That was actually a question that you.
The Rolls Royce tree.
Well, no, the Rolls Royce. Do you
How
have a
can I
Rolls
get
Do we
Royce
have a
tree?
Rolls Royce
Yes,
tree?
yes.
I wish we had a Rolls
Yes,
Royce.
but do
tree.
you subcontract or do you own all your vehicles? So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, and we don't, and it's something that's very common in this industry to subcontract, because it's a smart business model for growth.
Yes.
Hey, I have one Rolls Royce. Let me book it twice every Saturday. I know another guy who's got a Rolls Royce. I'll just subcontract my other one to him as much as I can, and then next year I'll go back and look at my numbers and say, I have enough work to buy another Rolls Royce, and that's what I'll do.
Right.
And it's a great practice for the business owner, but as the customer, you're getting like
yeah, no.
a secondhand
Use somebody else's
situation.
car.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's something that
Or it could
is
be a
not-
Rolls Royce, it could be a Cadillac, it could be
whatever. Yeah,
a Chevy,
and that's-
like,
A
who knows?
princess, right?
Yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah, one of
sneaky
those.
princess.
One of those. If somebody says to you they got a princess, yeah, I mean it's like.
So any Rolls Royce, it's named after something like ethereal, like a ghost, a wraith, a cloud.
Right.
So it's all yeah.
Ethereal.
Yeah.
Note that.
I think there are
TikTok.
some like very
Note that. Okay.
whimsical names.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
ethereal. Yes.
Like, yep, like-
All right, we got a live question here. So
snap.
for us, Silver Fox, what would happen if the photographer I chose cannot get to the wedding due to illness or death on that day? Is there a plan for that? And yes, absolutely. Life happens.
Splint his leg.
Life happens. We've had
We'll
situations.
get him there.
We've had situations in the past where, one night before a wedding, one of our photographers got hit by a drunk driver. One day, I remember the morning of a wedding, one of our photographers lost his mother. There's any number of things. It's life. And so those things happen. You have to have a backup plan. We do. We always have a photographer that is sort of held aside, similar to what you guys do with your cars.
Yep.
As the owner, I'm always on a backup, so I don't go on events anymore specifically to shoot them. Although I do tend to go to a couple cocktail hours when I go visit the weddings. But no, you absolutely have to be able to react and have a plan. And that's why we have a certain amount of photographers, but won't book every single one of them out for that specific reason because something happens. And like during COVID, during all those times when things were crazy. Week of, photographer is getting COVID. Photographer got pregnant. We had one get pregnant. Because now we've got 6 weeks worth of events or 8 weeks worth of weddings that we have to cover. I mean, some of them in advance, some of them you don't, and you have to be able to react quickly. So make sure that you are asking whoever it is, whatever category it is, entertainment.
Backup plan.
What's your backup plan?
Yeah,
Do you
gotta
have,
have it.
what's your plan B? Because if anybody says to you, "Well, I never get sick,"
Don't worry
that
about
never
that.
happens. No, that is not a plan.
These cars never break down. It's
These
never
cars
an
never
issue.
break down. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Except for the time that it
Yes. Famous last words. So,
Exactly.
alrighty. For you here. So, from Val and Tim, how do you determine what I need guest shuttle? How do you determine what I need guest shuttles? What I need for guest shuttles? My bad.
reading is hard.
That's like a nightmare question. So the short answer. So we.
It's a nightmare that he's going to turn into a dream.
Yes.
Yeah. I wish.
Here's the
Freaking
dream
wish.
scenario.
No, so it's one of those things where we talk about this like every year. At the end of the year, we always do like a sit down, at least once, usually twice a year, and we kind of try to like figure out how to make things better. How do we? What are things we need to work on? Where are areas that were difficult to kind of either advise people on or manage? And guest shuttling comes up every year because
I would imagine.
it's for you guys for the brides and grooms. Like you'll never know. You don't know. Like you won't get your RSVPs back till a couple of months out. Your room blocks won't fill till after that. I mean, that doesn't take into consideration who's even getting these vehicles. And so many people tend to even if you put like those little like, hey, will you take the guest shuttle in your invitations, which is a great idea, but we find people way overcommit to that because they think they're doing everybody a favor. Like, yeah, I'll tell them, and this way, if I don't need it, they'll have extra space. Somebody else
Right.
can take my seat.
Right.
So, but it's like, there's so many variables that come into play. There's so many, there's so much subjectivity involved.
So what's the piece of advice that you give?
Oh my God! So
Solid piece of advice.
Solid piece of advice is don't try to anticipate every individual's potential move. Generally, the mid to large size buses are the best buses to use.
Okay.
Because they fill a little quicker. If you can, like, keep your logistics not top of mind, but in mind when you book your hotel, in relation to where your ceremony, your reception is going to be. Because if it's close enough, you can do multiple runs.
Right.
And that eliminates
Right.
a lot of it.
Right.
We have you identify a point person. We don't want to bother you a day of in case there's a question, but it's always like with guest shuttling, you get 10 people out of that vehicle, and somebody's like, "Oh my God, it's so-and-so, you have to wait," or "My significant other's coming," or "I forgot my wallet."
Yeah.
I gotta be right back.
And they've had a couple drinks at that point, and they're so people are like, it's fine, I'll be right there.
Yeah, I'll be right back, and then they get lost.
Right, exactly,
Where did
yeah,
Uncle Joey
yeah,
go?
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know. I didn't even see Uncle Joey.
Yeah. So just once again, the planning, is obviously as much forethought as you can give. And listen, you talk to the professionals and just say, hey, give me like the best piece of advice you
Yeah,
can.
we have tricks and ways we can help you kind of estimate it. It's one of the best thing though is like don't drive yourself crazy if you're like an A-type personality trying to figure out every little person because it's just you're gonna get mad when 10 of them say they're going to take it and then they don't. And then somebody's getting a phone call like we're calling your point person like hey we thought and they're not there.
Right.
So.
Yes. Yeah. So keep the questions coming in from Samantha.
Well, I was just gonna say this is for you.
Yes, from
So,
Samantha.
a
Yes.
question for photography from Samantha. How do I know who will photograph my wedding?
Wow, you did it well,
John,
You
how will
did
they
that,
know?
You did that pretty well.
How will Sam know?
If I'm not here, you could be my stand-in.
That's Johnny.
That's it. The backup
But-
backup plan right here.
Well, we were just talking about
You
that.
would sit
Yes,
here,
exact worst case scenario.
just like that.
Worst case
Just
All
like
right,
that.
It
John
wouldn't be
gets
that bad.
COVID
Yes.
or gets
Yeah.
pregnant. I know I
Yes.
can sit in that seat.
That happens. We got problems. So how do you know who'll photograph your wedding? I think we had this question 1 or 2 weeks ago. I don't know. So anyway, it's simple. Most people know who they want because a friend is, we've shot their friend's wedding or they're on Brides of Long Island, who we love. And they are, hey, we would like to have so-and-so. And that's, if they're available, that's who you get. If you're like, I have no idea, we just throw a dart at a dartboard now. We will make an assignment based on, what you tell us you like, what style in terms of what your vibe is. But on our website, you go there, you can see all the galleries of the photographers, the profiles. But at the end of the day, we include an engagement shoot with all of our contracts, so there's no additional charge, it just comes with it. And it's with the photographer that shoots the wedding. So even if it's somebody that you didn't know, like, oh my goodness, I wanted so-and-so, but they weren't available, so I have this person, you're gonna do an engagement shoot, and I can tell you 999 times out of 1,000, you're gonna be like, wow, that's great. And if you're the one that's not, we're probably not the company for you. But no offense. But yeah, so listen, once again, it's a supply and demand industry, but yeah, we do our best to basically match you with the perfect person. If it's somebody that you've already requested, your friend had them and you were in the bridal party, that's the first person, and if they're available, they are yours. That's who you're doing your engagement shoot with. We spend all day with you. 10 hours, you have to like us.
Gotta love your photographer.
You have to like us.
Gotta love your photographer.
Yes,
I always say that too. It's cool if you like me. You have to love him.
Who could not like you? Come on.
I'm sure there are lots of people out there.
But even still, you're not the one showing up driving.
Exactly,
You
right.
just
So
got to
listen.
pick a pretty car.
So I want you to like me. You don't really have to. You guys, though, you gotta love you guys because you guys are there.
I'll jump off of John's answer to that real fast. I would imagine, similar to the music boutique, you are not allowed to work at Silver Fox unless you have a certain personality. You can relay certain ideas, and you have a certain amount of lovability.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it doesn't matter. Not
For
that it
you
doesn't
guys,
matter.
mostly, I'm sure. I mean, I can imagine like.
Well, yeah, you got it's a certain type of personality that entertains, but also it's a certain level of professionalism that his guys. I've worked with almost your whole staff. Every single one of us is nicer and sweeter and more cordial and they obviously all can take a decent picture too.
Yes. No, I mean, listen, if you're an asshole, you're not working here. Like, bottom line. I'm
Listen,
just
man,
saying, like,
same
I
thing.
hire on personality as much as I do on technical. I mean, you can learn technical aspects of photography, and obviously it comes more with training and time. But if you're just a jerk, like,
Can't help you.
I'm not helping you with personality traits. You
Can't
know?
help
So
you.
I think in every industry, though, wedding industry specifically, it doesn't really attract that personality type for the most part.
Right,
I would
yeah,
like to say
certain
most
type of
people like that are
Yes.
involved in all this stuff. They're like, they want to be involved.
Yes,
It's
but you do
very
have
fun.
photographers that are barking at people. Do this. I got a shot list. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
and
true.
that's
That's true.
like, yeah, that is not us. There are photographers, and they want to get their job done. They want to get what they have to do done, but
Satisfy that shot
yeah,
list.
it's like at the expense of you being like, wow, you're gonna see the photos, and so anyway, okay, on to another one here from a mother of the bride. What, for you, it's probably for everybody, but for you, Jarrad, what are the drivers like?
So just what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Exactly
Yeah,
what
what
we're
are they?
talking
What are they
about.
like?
So,
Yeah,
that's
do you
great.
subcontract, which we know that you don't, but what are they like?
So just like we're talking about, like with you guys here, you gotta kind of like at least be a happier, positive kind of person. Not everybody's like that. Everybody has days.
Everybody has days.
New York State has some really strict criteria for chauffeurs when you have a DOT license or a TLC license. There is an element of kind of professionalism and ability that comes along with that. They are tested to make sure they can drive the vehicles. We have contracts with different entities that have like a whole nother layer of testing and criteria for any kind of chauffeurs to get into the vehicles with them.
CIA level stuff.
But there's like, we do chauffeur training. It's funny because we actually train other company chauffeurs at our facility. So we have our own chauffeur manager. We have a whole training process. So an ability to be able to like do the obvious stuff like drive a car and know how to get from A to B. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You gotta have a certain amount of like emotional intelligence. And I think that goes for everybody.
That's a great way to
Like
put
read
it.
your room, read the room. Some people want to have the doors held. Some people want to be assisted the whole way through. They want the hand as you step out of the car. Some people freaking don't.
Right. Some people like,
Don't touch me, just drive.
Yeah.
Like, and that's cool too. Like you gotta be able to. The biggest thing, what I tell people when they ask this kind of question is like, just communicate to me and to your driver like what you would like and how you want to be treated. These guys are gonna default to white glove service. If not, they're gonna hold the doors.
Right.
They're
Yes.
gonna kind of
Yes,
be
of course.
ultra assisted and be kind of like there to service you, which is what you're paying for.
Yes. By the way, does TLC stand for tender loving care?
It should. It
Oh,
should.
it should.
It's TLC. Like
It
just-
should. I'm sure that's what the TLC gives you when you go down to register.
Oh, if you go
Yes.
down there, it's like the DMV on
Yes,
steroids. It's
exactly,
freaking
exactly. But no, I mean, and we gotta like your people. Your people are.
Yeah, man,
You don't
the
like your
fun
MC,
part.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like.
I've always said about DJs, and I'm doing this for a long time, and I would say you very much fall into this category.
Oh wait, let me wait till you.
No.
say it before I go
Like
this.
you have to be like genuinely like excited for people. You have to have like a genuine positive energy and like be into making it awesome for somebody. Like truly.
Yeah.
You can't be like and be.
You can't fake it.
No, you can't fake it. And I feel like a lot of guys who I've met, not you guys and ever, they do. They kind of come across like very cookie cutter, which I guess you have to be to appeal to a broad audience and a lot of different, types of people.
Right.
But yeah, I just, this is a compliment to you.
Yes.
And I appreciate it very much.
I don't mean to steal the answer to your
No, I
question.
know, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Now, yes,
No.
yes.
Well, yeah, the industry that I'm in definitely attracts a certain personality type. It definitely lends itself to the more outgoing and vibrant personalities for sure. The end of the day, though, yeah, you gotta genuinely like it.
You gotta genuinely like it, right?
If
Want
you
to
don't,
make people happy.
Yeah,
Get out there and
yes.
get people excited.
Well, and that's the thing is I like to be happy, so I like making people happy. And the way that it always happens with us, or rather the situation I find myself in now is clients come in, they heard from another party or they've been to a party and that was fun, so they had fun.
Right.
Then they come into the appointment's fun. Then they're building up to their day, filling out the paperwork, picking out music, that's all fun. So it's this like
build-up.
anticipation.
Yes.
And truth of the matter is, if you think you're going to have fun,
100%.
then you go and have fun.
Yes.
And then you knew you were going to have fun, and you thought you were going to have fun, and so it was fun.
Right.
And then
Right.
and then the next client, and then the wheel keeps turning. So I'm in that process where it's kind of rolling where there's an expectation and then it always kind of works out.
Yes.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Question that
That's
came in.
Yeah.
You said earlier that you are all in the same building. Do you guys package or have deals for people that book with you, all of you? Wow.
I
Yes,
mean, that's a layup.
Yes,
So
we
you
do.
wanna dunk it? Go ahead.
We've got something called Bridal Box here, which is an amazing thing. It is basically all the people in this building participate, and it's a package that you get where it's photography, it's video, it's DJ, it's transportation. We have floral here. We have invitation. So and it's really great because it's a package that gives you really good stuff. You're not kind of getting like, oh, the bare minimum. There's no extra fees. There's none of that. And so if you go to our websites, Bridal Box is on there. All Star participates. But I mean, I think, you know, we all have clients that come in and say, hey, so I saw this package, and you know, and so we could probably all speak to it because we are housed in a lot of places, and you know, Jerry Scotto here last week saying, you know, we do Bridal Box there. So it's
Yeah.
actually something that's actually a great thing. So I'll let you expand upon that, co-host.
Oh, well, the whole idea of the benefit for me, all right, Bridal Box, and the benefit for the client is everybody, there's a level of expectation that we have for each other.
Yes.
I
It's
know
accountability.
the photographer will be on time. They'll be dressed nice. They'll be cordial. All the things we already talked about. I know the AC will work in the limo. I won't get an angry bride when they show up. I won't get sweaty bridal party members who just want to take a drink of water and they don't want to dance. So from
Hydrate me.
yeah, from my perspective, all these other pieces to the puzzle are so tight and well put together that it makes my job even easier. And then vice versa, it's much nicer to have happy people at the end of the night get into the limo
Yes.
and drive back to the hotel than and go, oh, that party was terrible.
Everybody
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
shuttle, like, oh.
No, I can't believe the DJ did that or didn't do that or whatever the case was. So it just, each piece of the puzzle builds on itself and it ends up being the reviews that we get. Oh
Yes.
my God, run, don't walk. And if
Right,
you,
right,
this
yeah.
is the best thing
Yeah,
ever.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it
yeah.
we're happy to do, and it's true, we're all in a little bit of a discounted rate with the incentive to work together
Yeah.
to make it so that the parties go the way they're supposed to.
And I'm gonna date myself here. I know maybe you'll remember, like wedding center. You used to do like these. You go
Yes.
into these places, and the main difference and why this I think is very cool and appealing to brides, kind of like what you said.
Yeah.
Is like there's accountability. Like we wouldn't be doing this with each other if
Yeah.
I knew somebody was gonna drop the ball. It's not like I own or you own the two limousines in the back. You have a photographer.
Right,
You're the DJ. So you're wearing like 10 hats at
Yeah,
the wedding. You know,
yeah,
like that's
yeah.
from back in the day.
Yes,
That's what
they
they
were- yes.
used to do, and it's not what this is.
Yeah, no, they did it, and that was what they did was just subcontract out to like the cheapest people. It was
Yes.
like wedding centers. I remember when there was one in West Hempstead, I think there was a bunch of them, and they were just I mean, it was just like you were kind of at like a car dealership. Everybody had a desk.
I still
and they
see
were
them
just-
here and there. I forget where. I want to say like Middle Island or like on Middle Country Road. There's one. I feel like not to like don't go there.
Right,
everybody,
no,
check
yeah.
it out. I drove by. I'm like, God, it's still around. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if he's got limousines in the back. You know. Like,
Well, if you come here, you're getting a drink menu, you're getting a VIP treatment. You literally have we are all here together, which is great. And you could spend kind of probably 2 hours here and get 50% or more of your important vendors. They're all important, but really the top tier vendors booked and
Yes.
taken care of, which is a great thing for people who, when you're out there, TikTok world, spending all this time, money, and effort trying to plan the perfect wedding. With all the choices out there, you want something that kind of makes it easier. Bridal Box does that, so we pretty much get a question every week on it. So
If that's some way the answer ends
Yes.
up right there. Yeah,
Yes.
that's cool.
Matt's got a link. So do we on our. I think you have a Bridal Box link on your site. I'm
Yeah, I
pretty
think
sure-
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, so good stuff. All right, so from Leah, for you, Matt. I'm a
Oh.
no frills bride. What can you do for a couple like us?
So we get no frills questions all the time. Hey, I want the minimum. We want the minimum. We don't need fancy bells or whistles or lights or TV screens or anything like that. How can you make our wedding awesome? So, in my opinion, and what I tell the clients is that for entertainment, the minimum you would need is a 2-man team, a DJ and an MC. If you're having we'll say over 75 person wedding. All right. If you're underneath that, all right. If there's not so many nuances or formalities, sometimes a 1-man can get away with it. But for the most part, the product that I sell, the product that I'm proud of, the one that I get reviewed well on, is always the 2-man team.
Right.
So at a bare minimum, if that's what you'd like, you can have it, and we will discount things a little bit if you don't have, say, our glowing white DJ booth or the nicest set of speakers kind of thing. But all my speakers are wonderful. It's not, I don't buy bad stuff. All my front boards are beautiful. I don't buy, and then the truth of the matter is, whether you're a no frills bride or not, the staff still gets paid what they get paid to do the job that they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So there is a certain point at which below I can't really.
Right. Yeah.
Which makes sense, because if you're not paying your people well, they're not going to perform well.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
you can't get the champagne at the Bud Light price.
Well, someone told me years and years ago that if you pay someone more than you think they should earn, they're going to do a job better than they think they should do.
1,000,000%.
And I swear by that. And all the guys that work here and with me, killers. All right, they all do a really killer job, and I like to keep that rolling. And I don't want to really put that at risk, frills or not.
Right. Yes.
So,
you want to deliver either way 100% of the time. Yeah. I mean, listen, that you have an expectation. Your company, our companies have reputations, and you want to deliver 100% of the time. Some people have budgets that are bigger than others. That doesn't mean that you get a lesser quality.
No, the
Right.
quality's always there.
Yeah,
Sure.
Exactly. So
And
from
there's
go
usually
ahead.
different ways. I mean, for us, we can do different things. If you don't, the Rolls Royce costs what the Rolls Royce costs. You
Right.
know, the party bus costs what the party bus costs. But maybe you don't need a party bus. Maybe you could do a shuttle.
Right.
Maybe you can do a Mercedes Sprinter as opposed to a 14-passenger stretch Escalade. There are different options, and I know you guys are creative about things too, where it's okay to say that I don't, that I have a budget, but you can't get the Rolls Royce for the price of the tank.
Right.
It's just
Right,
not how
and
things
I
work.
think that's it. I think being realistic in expectations with us too. I just tell people, look, you gotta cover the day, basic. Like make sure you have photography, video. If you want to do the stuff afterwards, albums and edits and all that, push it down the road because we're my light went up. We're the one vendor that's still around after the wedding, so you can always revisit. From another question here from Lex, I think this came through you, Matt. From Lex to Jarrad.
Oh yeah, a question for you from one of my clients.
Cool.
They asked specifically, aside from arrival and departure, so showing up and leaving, how can a limo be used, or how can any of your cars add to the wedding?
So aside from taking you where you need to
Yeah,
go.
aside from getting in, getting out of it, what else can you do with one of these
Well, I
cars?
mean, there's a lot to do in them. So like party buses, limousines. I mean, they are what they are because there's music in there. There's a bathroom in the party bus. There's a bar area. You could drink in there.
it's fun,
There's
yeah.
a ton of cool stuff.
Yes.
I think maybe though, a lot of times people will book an antique Rolls Royce. You book a Rolls Royce not because you want to ride in a Rolls Royce, it's because you want it in your wedding album.
Right.
I mean, you guys put a lot of those cars. You don't usually put party buses and stuff into.
No, we're not putting pictures. I mean, maybe pictures from inside the
Right,
party bus,
right.
but not. Hey, let's get in picture in front. No,
Right.
part of the bus.
No, you don't
pictures
think these
in
are
front.
fun.
No.
Well, unless you have some beautiful Rolls Royces, a couple of
Yes.
really nice cars you can.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
Oh,
I think you
alright.
can, for its aesthetic value, for like a prop. But I mean, I'm obviously biased because I love the way those vehicles look. But if you're never gonna rent something like that ever again in your life. When are you ever
Right.
gonna rent like an antique vehicle and ride around
True.
in it, have a picture of you in front of it? It's iconic. It's classic. I mean, those are from an era like we were talking about before we kind of went live. Like there's just driving around in Nissans and
Right.
freaking whatever.
Yeah.
It's like they don't make it like that anymore, and they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're timeless, and that matters. You want your wedding to not look like when you're looking at the photos, like, oh wow, I did that, and you don't want it going out of
Yeah,
style.
but people have been taking pictures in front of 1930s Rolls Royces since
That's right.
1930.
Because,
So
right,
yeah.
because there's something about the aesthetic and what those vehicles look like that is just awesome.
Yes.
I mean, we have that Cadillac Fleetwood that we got, which is just
Oh yeah,
freaking
yeah.
Stellar.
magnificent. It
For
really is.
those of you that have not come to, you got to do yourself a favor. Listen, I know a lot of people shop online now. They do everything by just hey, websites. You really should come down, if for nothing else, to see the cars in person. See us too, obviously.
Yeah, visit while you're here.
But to see these cars in person, to see like the detail, the level of detail, the upkeep, and the whole operation, it really is something to behold because you just don't see that. I mean, unless you go to like a car show, you're not going to see cars of like this level of quality.
It's cool.
Yeah,
It's
it
fun.
is very cool.
And just the cars too, but also like what we're talking about like with you guys is like come and meet the people that are going to be at your wedding for 10 hours, 12
Yeah.
hours, and get to know those people.
Yeah.
That's important. Like,
Yes.
you know, you
Meet
should
the
touch
team.
it, feel it, meet
Yeah,
the
you don't have to
team.
spend 10 or 12 hours here the first time, but during the day, yes.
It's a long day.
We won't keep you here for 10 or 12 hours.
No.
All right.
Well, speaking of though, hold on though. Jumping off of how long you're going to spend time with people. So John, Angie wants to know how much time do I need while I'm getting my hair and makeup done.
Look at you.
So if
Yes,
you're having
Angie.
a photographer, lay it on
Angie,
them.
it's a great question. So here's the deal. So it depends obviously on how many bridesmaids you have and all that, because if you have 12 bridesmaids versus 2, but from when we start, typically it's about 2 hours prior to when your ceremony or your first look is going to be. And so if your ceremony is at the church at 3 o'clock and you're 10 minutes away at mom's house or wherever, we're going to start around 1. Now, if you're 45 minutes away, we're going to build in that travel. We want to have about an hour and a half or so, to capture photos, your bridesmaids, family, all that stuff. Obviously, the details. When we get there, we will tell you in advance. We don't want you in your gown. You're going to be getting your hair and makeup finished up. But the hair and makeup, we coordinate with a lot of hair and makeup people who are amazing, and we will always beforehand, hey, when are they going to get? They're going to start hours before. I mean, if you got 12 bridesmaids, you're probably starting 3 or 4 hours prior.
Yeah, takes a long time sometimes.
Takes a long time sometimes, but yeah, general rule of thumb is about 2 hours or so prior to either first look or ceremony. And I say first look because after first look, then we go into, usually your ceremony hasn't happened yet. We'll go into then family photos and try to get everything done before the ceremony happens. So once it happens and you're married, you go to your cocktail hour, you enjoy, you have a great time, and that's that. So, but very good all great questions this week. And seriously, as we're sort of wrapping up here, I will say, please continue. We got a few of these questions during the week. I know you got a couple, right at the end here. Excellent questions, please. We actually have our own Instagram now. At Ask Us Shit. It's at Ask Us Shit
Yeah,
Pod.
at Ask Us Shit
At
Pod.
Ask Us Shit Pod. Somehow Instagram just allowed
it,
I
yeah.
don't know. Maybe after they see this, they're not going to. But it was I thought
That's
I couldn't
great.
put the asterisk. I was but so but yeah, no, absolutely. And so one last little question here. How do I get selected to be the Polaroid of the day? Which is one of these awesome things we started doing, and we're going to take our Polaroid picture towards the end here. We always take one with the guest, but we started doing Polaroid of the day, I don't know, a few months ago, and it was just something I started doing because I'm super into Polaroids now. Got my Polaroid camera here, the i2, and just, sort of selected a photo. So what I will tell you, seriously, if you just DM
cool.
me and say, hey, I'd love to have
Where
my
was it?
photo. What's that? Yeah, that's the Star Wars photo. It's, May the 4th be, yeah.
Oh, he's got.
Yes, those
He's
are
got the,
lightsabers. Yes,
lightsaber.
Now you
He's
gotta
got
show.
the-
You gotta
he's got
show
the
it.
one,
Yeah, he's got the awesome one.
Yeah,
you gotta
the,
see this one. This is that awesome one. Yes, right. What? And but anyway, DM me or DM us, email, any way that you want to reach out to us, and we will certainly go through. So there's not any specific way. It's usually me. I'm listening to a song, I hear something, and it jumps out at me, and I'm like, oh wow, the song would go great. And then I go looking through some recent weddings or whatever, and try to connect the dots. I've done some that are related to anniversaries or what have you. So, but yeah. So I think we made a.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
we
no,
got
I
them
think
all?
we're good on questions, but the live pod promo?
Oh, that lot, yeah, yes, the live pod promo. Look at that. Look at the way he just.
Looking
I'm
out
just
for
saying,
everybody. Looking out
I don't
for
mind a bounce
people.
pass from time to time.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a straight up alley-oop ball.
That's right. Oh, you know what?
We got to get the ball to the man.
Matt, do you by chance happen to have a live pod promo? Oh,
Matter of fact, John, funny you should mention it.
I'm glad you asked.
glad you asked.
So for this week's live pod promo, if you call, make an appointment, or say your contract is pending at the moment, which there was a few that I had emails earlier today. If you call and you book before the next live pod, so this is Wednesday to next Wednesday, so you have 1 week, you can dance on a cloud on me.
On you.
All right? How's that? A free first dance, dancing on a cloud. If you book, mention this, call me, be like, Matt, so the live pod, it was incredible. I'll be like, I know.
Right.
And then
Yes.
you can dance on the cloud.
So
What's
it's dancing on
the cloud?
Dancing on a cloud. You said on you. You don't mean you laying on the floor with.
No, I'm not going to be, I won't be the physical cloud.
You-
There's a machine that I will bring
that. Yes.
on, I'll put on my show. No, I'll bring it.
Yes,
and
I'm trying to be funny,
on
and
the-
obviously you didn't like. Dance on the Cloud is when you have all that,
Photographers
it kind of looks like, like,
Yeah.
you've seen it, like a fog.
Yeah, okay. So I was really like,
We put a dry ice fog, low lying thing on the
Yeah, it's
dance
very,
floor.
it's great for
And
photos.
say you have a good
Okay.
photographer,
I didn't know that
like,
was
yeah.
called. I'm sorry. I didn't
Yes,
know. I didn't know.
Dance on the Cloud.
Like
yes.
one of John's
Yeah,
guys.
it rolls off better than like
Yeah.
dry ice machine at your first dance.
Yeah, that's
So,
cool, though. That's cool. That's cool.
we do have, and by the way, this is your chance to kind of come up with one while I'm
Oh,
going
I have to
through.
do one?
No, you don't have to tease
No,
us.
but
So-
John,
No. So we
do
do
you
have,
have one?
yeah, oh yes, by chance.
does Silver
Matt, we
Fox
do.
offer anything like
We
that?
do happen to have one. So if you book us, the pod promo between now and next week. So
Next
that's
pod.
set- next pod. You will photo and video. You book us, new contract. You will get a complimentary audio guest book, which you definitely want. $475 value. They're a lot of fun. You will hear great messages. You'll hear heartfelt messages and grandma saying how she remembers when you were born, and then your friends 9 drinks in saying, "We love you." Yeah, yes.
I leave them too. I'm like, this is Maddie, and
Yes.
I always leave them
Yes,
at the
yes.
when I see them.
So, and listen, I'm not going to put you on, but I guarantee
Well,
you.
listen, I didn't really even think about it, but
Well, we
I
didn't
mean,
say it, so
What,
but-
what we could do, I mean, if you think if that's okay, then between now and the next podcast, mention that you saw us or saw All Star on this, and I'll discount whatever. I have to look at the package.
Yeah, look at the
and that
package.
kind of
You're going to
thing.
get something off.
Yeah.
We'll
you'll
do
get-
something. If
mention
you
the
mention that
pod.
you saw this in between now and the next one,
Yes.
Well,
He's going to
you know,
give you
friends
$2,000.
and
Catch a
family
deal.
kind of thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Even if it comes out
You
of
can
some
go
money.
and pick a
Not-
Rolls
No,
Royce
not
from the Rolls Royce
Yes,
tree.
you can pick a Rolls Royce off the Rolls Royce tree. Yeah.
Yes. So, but all right. So I think we're Peter. How did we do technically here? Multiple camera shoot.
Yeah.
For those of you that
This,
have been
this is
watching,
an awesome setup, you guys.
This is a
Lots
great
of
setup
lights.
right here.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm going to show the TikTok world what we got going on here because it is really cool. I can't. But if you
Careful now,
here's us.
careful.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
right.
this is us,
But look
yeah.
at this multi-camera here. Peter's over there,
So
technical
handsome,
directing,
yeah.
so handsome, just sitting there doing his thing, and multi-camera. We're just getting better and better every week. Every week, which
Thank
just
goodness.
leveling up. Guests. So if you're a vendor or a bridegroom who'd like to be on,
Yeah, we
DM
haven't,
us
we haven't had a
messages.
live couple yet.
we haven't had a live couple yet. We're gonna for sure. We've got a month's worth of guests coming up. Some great guests that you're gonna enjoy seeing. We can't wait to have them. Next week is an excellent one. All right, so we're gonna sign off. Anything you want to finish up with there, partner? Anything you
Well,
want to add?
it's just really nice hanging out with you.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
very
much
guys.
for coming.
All I
Yeah.
want to say is
This
thank you
was
for having
cool.
me.
Absolutely,
It's
thank you.
super
Always,
awesome.
you know.
Yeah,
Phenomenal
my man.
idea. You guys
Yes.
are
Awesome.
And
good
so,
stuff.
everybody, thanks for tuning in to Ask Us Shit.
Ask me
with-
shit. Now
with-
you know some shit.
Now you know some shit. You know more than you did last week. This is like wedding wisdom without the BS, period. So you're not getting any BS here. We hope to see you next week for the live pod. Look forward to getting the sort of edited version within a day or so you can kind of get the best snippets. We timestamp it so you can get all the good stuff. And Peter, thank you for a great job. Guys, thank you for a great show.
Thanks.
And we will
Well done,
see
Tom.
you next week
Catch you next week on the live pod.
on the
Thanks, guys.
live pod. Let's sign it off. Goodbye.
Turn 'em